time has come for us to change the structure of Nigeria. If we don't do it now, and we go into the next election in 2017 with what we have now,
2027, sir,
then we are doing the same 27. Then we are doing the same things and the same way, and we're expecting a better result. We don't have a good outcome of what we have had in 2023. We've not had a good outcome of what we have had since the beginning of 1999. This administration, this dispensation. So it is time for this country to do something in the next couple of months.
Oh, this Eid had come at one of the most difficult times in the history of Nigeria. And I can assure you that less than 25% of those who are eligible to perform the religious function of slaughtering the ram were unable to do it.
So in that regard, how would you assess Nigeria in the context of that very special Muslim festival of Eid? Because obviously the festival is about sacrifice and love, but that doesn't seem to manifest very much in the politics of this country, does it?
No, because the issues are self-inflicted. We are the architects of our own problem. I am beginning to be at a loss whether it is the leaders that I will blame or it is we, the masses, that I should blame. Because everybody, it seems, when given an opportunity, even those that you can vouch for to be good people, to be people who could perform, who could sympathize, who could work for the country, interest of the country, they become something else. And a typical example is General Buhari. I could have bet my life for him on certain issues.
Well, Buhari is part of the leadership. You wouldn't describe him as an ordinary Nigerian, would you?
That is why I said I'm at a loss. Whether I accuse the leadership or I accuse those of
I
us
see what you mean.
Who are masses. Because if some of us could actually collect a piece of Indomie and 200 naira to vote, so they beget what they bargained for. So you can't complain at all. I can't complain because I didn't take, and things are not going the way I think they should go.
You must be a very disappointed man, because
extremely.
Because leader after leader, some you extol them and then they disappoint you.
Yes, correct. In fact, I almost came to the inevitable conclusion that I may never see the kind of Nigeria that I envisage for my children and grandchildren.
You have resigned your membership of the All Progressives Congress because your membership has been rendered useless. People will be curious. A national vice chairman, Northwest, a well-placed person within the party hierarchy, why would they render you useless? 2, you said there is no internal democracy. 3, you said President Tinubu will not allow reform within the party, and that the possibility of President Tinubu allowing any form of reform within the party is very remote. At a time when President Tinubu was celebrating 25 years of democracy, 1 year of his administration, and his aides have been jubilating that in fact APC is doing very well. And yet you are an insider. You just threw the party under the bus. You threw the president under the bus. And that party, all is not well. What exactly is the problem?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. First, I think it is the other way around. The party and President Asuwaju threw some of us under the bus. The reality is that as a party, and all of you know, for more than 2 years, the advocacy has been to allow structures and organs of the party to function. And that led to the whole campaign against Senator Abdullahi Adamu and Senator Yola Inshuru. And since their resignation in July last year, and the emergence of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje on August 4th, 2023, till today, no organ of the party has met. I have tried to remain in the public, raising issues, appealing to leaders to please function based on the rule of the party as provided in the constitution of the party. Unfortunately, all that have fallen on deaf ears, and As members, once meetings are not taking place, our capacity or our privileges to influence even decisions and action of government controlled by the party and leaders elected on the platform of the party will be very weak or almost impossible. And that is the reality we are facing today. And I didn't hide it in the statement you quoted, although not meant for public, I sent it to selected people, but somehow it finds its way to the public domain. I was very clear that as it is today, the party is only a legal entity. The function that is supposed to exercise as a political party by way of aggregating interest and opinion has been sacrificed completely, which is why we have a government. And frankly speaking, this is part of my pen. We were in the forefront of the advocacy for merger. We were in the forefront of the campaign to get PDP out of power. We were very clear. In fact, we were in the forefront of the campaign for the return of democracy. We were very clear. We had clear vision in terms of what this democracy should represent. Our vision was that it should represent a stronger capacity for governments elected to respond to the challenges and problems of the nation. Unfortunately, what we have is practically business as usual, if I can be diplomatic. From 2015, when PDP was defeated, there is no new initiative you can point at to say, as a party that came to change the reality of our politics, we have introduced to do things differently that will meet the expectation of Nigeria. Instead, we have actually regressed. Let's be very honest about it. And for me, relative to people like President Aswaju and quite a number of people in his generation, I'm younger, but I'm not that young. I feel I'm at the almost closing period of my life. I've spent all my life campaigning for democracy, campaigning for better society, and I'm asking myself whether I can justify all that I have done to my children. I live daily with the frustration of not being able to meet some of the needs of my own immediate family members. And I think we need to ask the basic question, whether we want to continue living with false hope, or we want to take up the challenge and really do the needful to begin to really get the country back on the track of our democracy being capable of responding to challenges of the country. I think that's basically the issues. I hope I have answered all the chance of questions you have raised.
All right. I'm one of those people that calls you my brother, and this is Rufai speaking here. And good to talk to you again, and good to read all your very, very lovely, writings. But on the basis of the things you had written, and I'd read extensively most of your writings, there was no reason for Nigerians to vote for APC in the last elections. And that goes back to Ayo's premise on being rigged. APC didn't have a reason to be voted for. Buhari, like you wrote in one of your letters dated the 7th of June, had ruined the economy. It was already in dire straits. So there was no reason Nigerians voting for the APC, you selling that same party that ruined the economy and giving them a second chance. Because if you said that, then that's a reward for poor performance, like you enunciated that Buhari was shambolic, to say the least. So that also goes back to the premise of, has rigging ever happened before? You would answer that. But a couple of things you wrote. I want to take you to that letter on the 7th of June, prior to this one. When you were talking about that, we do not need a democracy where we vote in civilian overlords. And frontally, you called Tinubu a right-wing, politician, hardliner now, which is at variance with what's supposed to be the ideology of, sort of like a center-left, caring for the people, social injection and things like that. In fact, you even praised Tinubu and said, any sin of the last social intervention was done under Buhari's administration. And he's now very right-wing with those decisions. So, has he become now an overlord of some sort? Because you say you can't reach him, you can't talk to him. And I'm shocked that somebody like you, in your capacity, can't even pick up the phone and say, President Tinubu, I want to have a conversation with you and you're not doing well, you're not doing X, Y, Z. I'm shocked that you can't even talk to him. So has he become an overlord? And secondly, because you and I argued on this television when you were trying to tell people to vote APC in the last election, I told you, no, there were no empiricals on ground. And you said no and all of that, we still have to. But there was no basis, there was no substance, there was no terra firma to vote them on after Buhari had been shambolic, which we all could agree on. So those are the two questions.
Okay, well, on the first one, the question of whether people have voted APC in 2023 or not. Again, like I said, I mean, our leaders have created basis of distrust, you know. And my reference point, if you remember our discussion or our debate before 2023 election, was that, look, for me, it's about making choices. The same way you argue APC will have performed poorly, I argued that relative to PDP, APC was better. I may be wrong, and I'm not grandstanding.
Based on the fact you are wrong.
I keep making the point.
You know, based on the empirical,
wait.
PDP has performed better than APC based on the numbers.
By that time,
yes.
No. You see, I admit that in terms of meeting up with our campaign promises, we have done badly, no doubt about it. And what are those campaign promises? Issues of security, issues of the economy, issues of fighting corruption. We have done badly. And people are free to read the conclusion whether APC is worse than PDP or not. But as of 2023, before the election, I had the hope that because our leaders were not in denial of the challenges facing us, they will be humble enough to admit that we have not done what we needed to do between 2015 and 2023. And under Asuwaju, I was practically very, very confident that he will not really do business as usual the way President Buhari did. Unfortunately, here we are, he's doing business as usual, and as it is, we are going to end up in a worse situation. So to that extent, you can be right in criticizing some of us who supported, who were in APC and who supported President Asuwaju. But now, coming to your second point, about Asuwaju being an extreme right-winger. And I try to explain this very easily. I mean, look, APC was founded on the vision of being a social democratic party. Social democratic party prioritized well-being and condition of living of citizens. So issues of education, issue of health, issues of social welfare should have been the priority. And that should be reflected in public investment driven by government. Unfortunately, what are the first steps President Asuwaju took? I mean, apart from the fact that on account of corruption, social investment has been suspended, which is why the question of responding to hardship is so weak, you know. Also look at the major decisions of President Asuwaju. Spending 15 trillion naira on Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. Imagine if a fraction of that amount is invested in education. And in terms of education, we talk about 10 million out of school children in the north. You cannot solve that problem by business as usual, allocating pittance in education and expect classroom blocks, teachers to be recruited, teaching material to be procured with the pittance that is going on now. So you need extra-budgetary activity to be able to respond to that and mop up the out-of-school children out of street. And in terms of mopping up, the advantage of it is that it will also reduce the vulnerability of the nation in terms of insecurity. Now, imagine a fraction of 15 trillion naira invested in our armed forces by way of procurement of military hardware, training, and talking about even responding to security challenges. We've been debating as a nation for God knows how long about state police or not and what have you. You know, imagine investing a fraction of it to say we are responding to the crisis of policing in the country.
If you can hear me, we're trying to manage time because we'll go shortly. Well, you also called the Tinubu administration. You said President Tinubu is running a reactionary government. You said that as far back as March. You also said in another report that this Tinubu administration has a penchant for taking decisions without thinking through the consequences. Fine. Some other people have been harsher than you have been. But we are also in this country together. Some of the people who criticize Tinubu called him names. Some of them are praising him now. So what will it take for President Tinubu? I'm sure he is watching, or he will get a report of all the things you said about him. If he reaches out to you to say, my brother, don't leave the party. What are those specific things that he should do that would make you change your mind and bring you back from the trenches? Or you present your concerns to him as an advice. Yeah.
I mean, straightforward, Dr. Bati. Number one, I think President Tinubu need to really audit his cabinet, need to audit those around him, because I made this point, I can't remember where and when, that the President Tinubu we have now is not the same as Bola Ahmed Tinubu that ruled Lagos between 1999 and 2007. Because Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu that ruled Lagos surrounded himself with very competent, very clear-headed people who, if you want to take the wrong decision, they could step forward and stop you. As you know, Asiwaju, you can't do this. He doesn't have those people around him now. The people around him, like you highlighted, are people who are basically singing what you want to hear, and that is not healthy for a leader. In fact, if anything, they are setting him off to fail. I don't want Asiwaju to fail. I still want him to succeed because it is in our own interest. As a nation, we are hungry for a leader who 200 years to come, citizens of Nigeria will be celebrating that leader just like Americans are celebrating the George Washingtons and what have you. Now, the second issue, which I think for me, if President Tinubu set out and start doing now, he will just demobilize some of us and will all queue behind him. If he set out and now allow party structures to function and ensure competent people leading the party on the basis of, I mean, when I say competent people, not just people he nominates, people with skills and capacity to engage him and persuade him or dissuade him from doing the wrong things, you know, and get him to really act based on the decisions of the party. I mean, for me, if he does that, I will say our democracy has begun to mature. And if I see through that the party is beginning to gain the strength to really intervene and give direction in terms of the government controlled by the party at all levels.
All right.
And the manifesto of the party is beginning to gain life. I think if he does that, he will demobilize a number of us. And I will queue behind him. I will be his supporter up to the time I left the party.
Alpha, you listen to that? Good. This one, Kwankwaso spokesman that time. You see, these 3 videos when you listen to this first one, for Kwankwaso former spokesman. Even Nigerians say, I see the talk, everybody see the talk. Yes, Tinubu is the president of this country today, but you don't go to blame Nigerians for saying they collect money, they vote. 2023 presidential election was not like before. Because, yes, people voted for Tinubu. The vote they voted for Tinubu was not enough for him to be the winner. So, people did not vote for him to be the winner. Yeah, no matter how it is, you see, get vote, he get vote. But it was not the vote of Nigerians that make him the president. It was INEC and the judges that make Tinubu the president. So, that's number one. But I think it don't clear to everybody, including the INEC and the judges. It don't clear to them. Now, election is still far away. We have not even survived 1 year or even 2 years of the Tinubu administration. Maybe that one is just a joke. The campaign big board has already surfaced that Tinubu want to run 2027. Let's assume that one is just a thing or something. It's just a joke. We call it a joke for now, because even yourself, your conscience is supposed to be judging you by now. For you to do that big board to say you want to call 2027 with this time, waiting, you don't get conscience. Waiting. So we are still struggling to survive, to know even the direction of this president or this government. You are saying that's an insult to Nigerians. Yes, if truly that one, Tinubu, you want to campaign 2020, is an insult to Nigerians. But I know people will say vote for him. And you see this? He said before 2027, if Nigeria is not being divided, it's going to be a problem after that 2027. The priority now is to divide this country. That is it. That's what he said. Restructuring this country should be priority before 2027. Otherwise, there will be more problems in 2027 beyond if Tinubu still remain in power. That's what he said, and that is the truth. That's the way forward. That's why you see a lot of them now, they are using Nnamdi Kanu idea to run this country. What Nnamdi Kanu said many years ago is what they are about to do now, and that is the way forward. So they better release Nnamdi Kanu now to continue from where he stopped and join hands with these people now that is coming and how to solve how to do it, to restructure the country. Because now they kind of said it many years ago. That is the problem. So they are using his ideas to restructure this country now, and they still kept him in detention. So they should better release him. You don't understand. Now, the other one, that's APC leader, one of the APC Oga. Now he's talking like this now. APC has divided. He's now he don't excuse himself from APC. You understand? Because Tinubu sidelined them. He said Tinubu dumped them inside bus and left them there. Now you know. The same way Buhari did at that time. You don't understand? So there's problem. A divided house cannot build a nation, cannot build a country, cannot make this country great. APC and his member, they are divided. This one is one of the strong APC. At that time, you see, in the Rufai at that time, and listen, you know Rufai now, you know the feel, they give you direct, they hit the punchline. So this man was ready to do anything. Even this man can even slap anybody at that time on the street to talk about Tinubu, to say Tinubu is not competent. But today, after 1 year, they are regretting. Why do they have to vote for Tinubu? Why do they have to allow Tinubu to come in? The same way they are blaming Tinubu, Buhari. You understand? So now, to solve all this problem, what should we do? Since we know the problems now, this is the solution. Is it not the time to focus on the solutions aspect to solve the problem? We are not going to start talking about this. It has happened, it has happened. So is the way forward, which is the solution. Solution is restructuring. Let's leave about what happened, this, that, this, that. So this is the solution, the way forward to solve the problem of this country. So restructuring, let that be priority. Not till 2027. It should be possible to restructure this country and give them restructure the country to 8 regions. That should be at least to start with. Before you know, everything would have been all right. So Tinubu, I still repeat, APC, Tinubu is minister. You see the way this man explained his minister? They can't do it. They are all surprised. They thought it was it was like the way they used to run their private business. No, it's different. It's not the same. So a divided house cannot build. Even you just imagine husband and wife having problems at home. There will be no progress, no unity. No, they don't do everything together. There will always be problem, quarreling every time because they don't have the same vision. They are not driving in one direction because confusion. There is confusion in that house. So they can't make a good family that people will be proud of. It's the same thing with this APC now. So now is the time. 3 years from now should be enough to restructure this country. Give this country back to regional government so that every region can have power over their region. They can control their resources and the securities. That will help a lot. Please, what do you think? Subscribe, like, share, comment, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll be your guy runner for me now. Please.